Well, hello, my friends, and welcome back to another episode of Legacy Farmer, the podcast. This is your host, JC Young, and today's topic of discussion is this: why criticism doesn't matter. So there's a lot of you that are probably going to need to hear this message today. And if I could speak this to myself back in 2014 and 2015 and part of 2016 before I left the banking industry, I definitely would. Now, guys, today I'm going to talk about why criticism doesn't matter. And here's kind of the overarching quote that I want to state right now. You will never be criticized by someone doing more than you in life. Okay. And when I say life, I mean life and business across every area of life. Okay. You will only be criticized by those doing less than you. So, guys, the reason I say that is because, okay, so for example, I'm a perfect example here. I have spent hundreds of thousands of dollars the past, 3 to 4 years on Facebook ads, bringing members into Legacy Farmer and everything there. Now, if you're listening to this podcast, you've probably seen some of my ads on there. And if you've ever ventured down the comment rabbit hole, you can see all of the terrible things that some people say on my ads. Okay. Now, in the beginning, I'll be honest, it really impacted me. I looked at it all the time. And I probably looked at it really for about 6 months to a year because I was just used to doing that, right? And if you have ever run ads before, I can guarantee you've went through a phase where you're looking at all the comments and everything there. And it got to a point where it just didn't serve me, okay? And this quote that I said earlier around how you will never be criticized by somebody doing more than you, only less than you, it was back then that I first heard that quote. And it really hit home for me because I realized that at that time, looking at those people's quotes, or those people's comments who I would never want to work with in the first place. Most of them aren't real farmers or ranchers anyway. And if they are, then man, they need to have some conversations with God with the terrible things that are coming out of their mouth to some random person that they don't even know. It's always, it's keyboard warriors, right? They can say whatever they want to online, but put them in front of your face and see if they'll say the same thing. They never would, right? So when we're talking about that, though, it really impacted me for a long time until I just finally figured out and got fed up with it. I was like, this doesn't serve me, because when I would read those comments or whatever, that would impact me the rest of the day. It was like I was giving away my energy for free to some random person talking shit on the internet that really had no determining factor in whether or not I was going to be successful. And honestly, it stole my focus from what mattered. And those are the actual customers and members inside of Legacy Farmer. Those are the people that matter. And so if you scroll through my ads, my friends, you're going to see some of them have over 1,000 likes and emojis on them. And some of them have 1,000 comments on them. And most of those comments are just people talking shit. And that's just how the world operates. That's just how it is. Unfortunately, today we have a society of a bunch of keyboard warriors and people that are completely disrespectful, but walked face to face with them, they'd never say that to your face because they're going to get punched, right? So that's why keyboard warriors are funny, because they want to say whatever they can behind the safetyness of their screen, but they know if they said that to a person's face, they'd probably get punched in the face, which they honestly deserve out of some of the things that they're saying. Now, why is this relevant? Guys, so many people don't start because of the fear of the criticism they may get, right? And I'm talking farmers, ranchers, I'm talking everybody just in life in general. This can be in business, this can be personal life, starting something new, whatever it may be. And a lot of people, they never start strictly out of the fear that they are worried about what everybody else is going to say about them or think about them or how they're going to criticize them or whatever that may be. And that impacts a lot of people today, my friends. And it's very difficult too, because we live in a society, again, this is at least how I was raised. You may not have been raised this way, but how I was raised was to always be concerned about what everybody else thought of you, right? You grow up in a small town like I did, 900-person town. The people, you see the same people every day. So you're consciously aware of everything that you're doing, or when you do screw up, you feel bad. And the first thing you do is you don't even feel bad about what you did. You feel bad and nervous because of what everybody's going to think or say about you. Right. And that's the problem, though, is that it keeps anybody from starting anything new or trying anything different. Again, this is personal or business life, because of the fear that they, may be criticized by people around them. And I'm here to tell you today that in the beginning, I was criticized. In the beginning, I was 100% impacted by that criticism. I was criticized by my family. I was criticized by people I thought I could trust and people I looked up to for a long time in my childhood. And it took me a while to realize that, hey, it doesn't make them bad people. It just means that their criticism doesn't actually have any merit. because they are people literally criticizing somebody else about something they've never actually done themselves. Somebody else criticizing somebody else about something that they've never actually done themselves. And here's the thing though, is the person that actually is going to offer you valuable feedback. Now, notice how I said the word feedback, not criticism. The person that's going to offer you valuable feedback is going to be somebody that's actually walked that path before, been down that journey before. So in 2016 and 2017, I invested in my first networks to be a part of other business owners that were leaps and bounds ahead of me when it came into business. And I'll tell you what, I was never criticized. Was I exposed? Did they share like things like, hey, you might watch out for this here. You may consider doing this because this is what happened to me. Notice the terminology that I'm using there, right? Like even the word considered, right? They're keeping it open, right? The conversation is open. They're not creating an environment where I'm going to put up my attack walls and just think, oh my gosh, you're doing so many things wrong, Jace. No, they're offering me sound advice based off of their experience. But they also understand too that that's only their experience. I may face different variables. I may face different challenges. My experience may be completely different. That's why they're just offering feedback. They're offering advice from their perspective. They're not telling you what you should or shouldn't do or what you can or can't do. They're offering their advice, guys. And those are two drastically different types of people you need to have inside of your life. And unfortunately, for a lot of farmers and ranchers and people that grow up in these small towns, they've never ventured out or been able to venture out to find a network of people that are above them in business that will give them honest feedback and valuable feedback versus criticizing them, right? Everybody in their town criticizes them. Your dad may even criticize you. And that's a difficult one right there, because out of everybody in their life and childhood growing up, the one person that we really all want to impress is our parents, right? And especially our dad. And if you get criticism back from your dad, man, that's a tough pill to swallow. But eventually you get past it. My dad criticized me on certain things. My granddad definitely criticized my dad on everything he did, which is why my dad's self-confidence and stuff, I can only imagine, because he's told me after my granddad passed away some of the stuff that he said to him over the past 30 years. And it's like, dude, that guy deserved to be punched in the face sometimes, right? So the thing is like you got to step past that. You got to move past that. And you have to understand that, hey, just because they're your parents doesn't mean they get to dictate what you can and can't do inside of your life. Just because they don't think that, just because they tell you can't do something, it's not that they don't believe you can't do it. It's that they don't believe in themselves that they could do it. Right? Really, it's just all people are doing is passing on how they think about themselves, and they're projecting it out onto you, which is not the way things should be, but it's just the way the world is. So you need to understand this and recognize this and be able to move past it and understand that, hey, I get what you're saying. Just so you know, it carries no merit with me because you're talking about something you've never actually done yourself. So I'm going to invest the time, the energy, and the money to go surround myself in different networks that will actually give me the constructive feedback that I'm looking for, that it's actually going to help me, right? Because they've walked the path. And so, guys, you need to understand how valuable that is. And I feel, one of the things I wanted to do with Legacy Farmer is really start that kind of network for farmers and ranchers. But and I've said this on other podcasts before as well, everybody inside of our network, we interview everybody to make sure everybody has the same core values, to make sure everybody wants the same thing. And what that's done is that's created an environment and a community of all people that want the same thing, that are on the same path. So you are able to get constructive feedback. You're not getting criticism from anybody inside of our network. Nobody's criticizing anybody, because everybody realizes, hey, I've made the same mistake he made, same mistake he made, same mistake he made, or whatever, right? You're not getting criticism from anybody in our network. You are getting feedback, though, from other people's experiences and challenges they ran into when they tried this strategy or that strategy or whatever. Guys, that's where value comes in. Those are the networks that I'll pay to be a part of. And I'm in my own separate networks, guys. I invest in networks every single year, surrounding myself with different business owners that are doing more of a, internet-based business, kind of like mine is, right? Everything is run on the internet. Everything's run remotely. We all have our team. Our team is spread all over the country. Our clients are all over the country. We're extremely efficient. We use everything online. So yeah, I'm going to surround myself with people that are doing a similar type of business model in a completely different industry. But I wanted to create the same type of environment and opportunity just in farming and ranching inside a Legacy Farmer. And guys, I wanted to make it something that's actually really valuable, right? To where, when people are coming in and they're sharing advice or constructive feedback, they're not sharing it just on business. Yes, that's important, but we also talk about the real stuff in life as well, like dealing with family And trying to build an operation when your parents are, not letting go of things, or your brother's being difficult to work with, or you have any type of family drama, that's what's really beneficial about our network, is that they all trust one another because we've taken the steps to interview all of them, and we know who they are, we know what their core values are, we know what they want, and they trust each other. They can bring these topics up and get valuable feedback from somebody else that's been down that path, and they are not getting criticism from anybody. Right? It's more about just leveling up your awareness of what could and couldn't happen, and trying to give people some guidance here. Because like I said earlier, the way that I do one thing is, in my experience and my journey, somebody else could give me constructive feedback on it that I'm paying them to give me, but their journey and their experience may be completely different than mine, because the world changes, right? We have to adapt. The environment's changing. So we got to constantly be moving and changing how we're doing things and trying different strategies and stuff like that. But they're giving me thoughtful feedback and guidance that's helping me get there that much faster. So my friend, you really have to look at the environment that you're surrounding yourself with right now. And everybody in your world that criticizes you, you need to kick them out. And it's really difficult, especially when it's family. I get it. You have to remove them. Otherwise, everywhere, all your dreams and goals and everywhere you want to go in life, you will never get there, because you will constantly be tied down by their criticism and seeking their approval, when at the end of the day, my friend, you can be sitting on your deathbed and that will not matter two shits to you. That is the last thing you will think of, and you will be full of nothing but regret because you did not make the moves that you knew you should have made in order to get what you wanted out of your life. So my friends, that concludes today's episode. I hope you found it valuable. I hope you take action because of it, and we will catch you on the next episode. What's up, everyone? My name is Jace Young. I'm the founder of a company called Legacy Farmer, and inside of that company, what we do is we've helped over 300 family farms simplify and streamline the entire financial side of their operation and help them learn their numbers at a deep level so that they can implement the systems and the processes to make sure that their operation lives on for generations into the future.